Hi, this is the lesson number 6 in this series of British literature. And so far, we have discussed in this series in previous 5 lessons about Anglo Saxon history and literature. Before going further, I think I should discuss a bit about the Anglo-Saxon history because it has some relevance, and I start with the period from where Julius Caesar invaded England. From there started the Romans as the ruler of England, and up to the 4th century they kept ruling over England. And when the Roman Empire was falling apart, they went back, and then came the Germanic tribes. They attacked over England, and now the rulers were the Anglo-Saxons and Jutes. When Romans were ruling over England, they enforced Christianity as a religion and Latin as the language. And later, when Anglo-Saxon came, they imposed their language Anglo-Saxon, and by that time Latin was also going parallel and Christianity was spreading as well. And in 8th or 9th century we have the King Alfred, and he started a chronicle named as Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. He was promoting English language means the Anglo-Saxon language or the Old English language, which is also called as, but he was against the use of Latin language. So up to now, we came to the year 1066, where we have the Norman conquest, and this is the lesson we shall be discussing now about the Anglo-Norman period or the Middle English period. In the year 1066, the Norman conquest happened, and at that time, first, what is Norman? Norman stands for a French dialect. The King of Normandy or the Duke of Normandy, William II, he also called as the William the Conqueror. He defeated the King Harold of England and became the ruler of England. He defeated him in the Battle of Hastings, and by that the French rule was applied on England, and the French language was also imposed on them. So the language French became the language of the ruling class, as we had in India as well. When the British people came to India, they imposed their language English over us. And similarly, French was the language of the ruling class or the upper class, and the Anglo-Saxon or the old language was the language of the working or poor class. By the time, over the years, both these languages mingled, their word exchanged, and we had the new language before us, and it is called as the Middle English or the Anglo-Norman English or Anglo-French English. Norman stands for French and Anglo stands for English. And further, what we have in reference to the previous year questions in UGC NET, I have a point. In early modern English, that is in the period of age of Chaucer, because modern English started almost in the 14th or 15th century, English language or the Anglo-Saxon language borrowed new words from which two languages? So these two languages were the Latin and French. And one more, England became the three-language nation that time. And which were these three languages? Again, English or Anglo-Saxon, French, and Latin. So by these words we have to understand Norman or French are almost the same. When we talk about Anglo-Saxon, it's only Old English. Anglo-Norman, it's Middle English, or Anglo-French is also Middle English. And further, in French language there are some words, and in their equal we have in Anglo-Saxon language. And for animals, this is the example I have given you. You can see this picture. The animals, Anglo-Saxon language, we have the word like sheep, deer, cow, hen, and respectively in French language their words were mutton, venison, beef, poultry. because the working class was dealing with these animals, so they used these words, and the upper class was dealing much with the meat they eat, so they used these words like mutton, venison, beef, poultry. And further, we have more examples of Anglo-Saxon and French words. The phrasal words you see there in this table, ask for is Anglo-Saxon word or phrasal verb, and its equal inquire word is from French language. So more polite and more formal words, bigger words we find in French language, like continue, explode, escape. And in Anglo-Saxon we have more like the phrasal verbs similar with these words, more given in the right side. You see shirt for blouse, and then answer for reply, weird for strange. Moving on, we have the new topic in this, that is crusades. What were the crusaders or crusades? These were the religious wars. First, these were the religious wars against the Muslims, provoked by the Pope. In Roman Church, the bishop is called as the Pope. So he provoked these wars, and supporting these wars across all European countries means not only the people of England, but the other countries, French and Rome, Italy, and Germany. These people were also taking part in these wars. These wars against the Muslims in the Middle East countries, because the Muslims were spreading their culture in the Holy Land. The Holy Land is where Jesus was born. Those who were taking part in this war from the Christian people, they were called as the Crusaders. There were 8 major crusades between the year 1096 to 1291, across 200 years. There were 8 major crusades, or these were also called as the Holy Wars by the Christians. And what happened by the result of these wars? So many people died. Even the Christians also died, and some of them their family members, they started losing faith in church. And one more thing happened, that the people who went there and came back alive, they brought some classical books and text, ancient text from there, from the Middle East countries. And this was also called as the cross fertilization of the thoughts of Eastern and Westerns. The people of England started reading these books and gaining knowledge of mathematics, science, and philosophy. This revival of the classical text really gave a new way to the English people. They started to get involved themselves in reading and studying more and more. This really gave the concept of universities and schools in the future. So the two major result, or the two important results of these crusades: first, the people started reading, got those text, the classical text, the revival of the classical text. And second, they started losing faith in church. And about church, we all know that it's all started somewhere around 3rd or 4th century, when the Romans were there in England, and they started establishing their church. The rule of the church is that the whatever the Pope in Roman Church says, the other church across all other European countries, they have to follow the same. At that time, the Bible was in Latin language only, and the people who knew Latin language, they were appointed in higher positions in the church. And the people who were the officials of the church, they used to have more powers over the people. It was also said that in most of the European countries, people had to follow the law of the land and the law of the Pope. Pope stands for the bishop in the Roman Church. And it was also notable that it was only Catholicism. Till now, it was only Catholicism in Roman Church. Further, the appointments of the clergymen in church really gave the way for corruption, because whoever became the clergyman, he started to give sermons in the church, and further he had to give pardon to the people, and for that they started acquiring or getting some money in return from the people. This really corrupted the base of the church among the people. By the time what happened that the people who were in church, like the clergyman or the bishops, they really got wealthy. They got lot of money, and further the church also got wealthier because the people were donating so much money to the church, and when the money comes, there rise the corruption. So the corruption really gave the way to the downfall of the church. When the people saw corruption in the church, they started losing faith in that. So that was really the major point. And one more thing I would like to tell you, that before finishing this lesson, there are two or three branches in Christianity. We see the Catholicism, that is till now we have studied. This is the Catholicism all the way. In contrary to them, there are the Protestant, and there are some Anglican church as well. So what is that? We shall discuss about them in the upcoming lessons. So in this lesson we have discussed about the history of Middle English period and what were the major writers and texts in this age. We shall discuss about them in the upcoming lessons. So for the moment I think it's enough for this lessons, and I am fully confident that I am able to satisfy your desires and what you want to learn through my lessons. But still I would welcome your feedbacks and your comments. You can give in the comment section. So thanks a lot.